Hello guys, this is a 2008 Chrysler Pacifica. We have a code P0456, EVAP system small leak. Other two codes are related to AC. That's been done by some other shop, and that's been this is actually history code. I got nothing in active code and no code present, so this is all let's see what the pending codes are. So this is the store codes. So these two are taken care of. So we're going to attack this P0456. I've done the video with Chrysler. What it was? I can't remember what it was. Also the EVAP code, when that was a NVLD system, natural vehicle leak detection system. This is a third generation EVAP that uses an ESIM, which is an evaporative system integrity module. Kind of similar system, but doesn't have a purge valve. This is just a little unit that sits on the charcoal canister, and has two weights in it. One is for vacuum, one is for pressure, and these weights will open and equalize the pressure in the EVAP under certain pressure and vacuum. I think it's like a half an inch of water of pressure and like 3 or 4 inches of vacuum. So it's pretty much the same spec as the NVLD, and also has a switch, micro switch in it, that's supposed to close at 1 inch of water. This one, this is a switch. Basically it works off of 4.5 volts. It's a pull down design, and it will close once the pressure inside the EVAP reaches 1 inch of water. I'm gonna make another video, kind of the detail, explain how that works, but right now I have to figure out what's going on with this one. So I'm still, again, I have my pump hooked up, and I have my pump and my pressure sensor. I'm sorry, my pressure sensor, and on my lab scope I have on channel A, the blue channel is going to be my switch, and the red channel is going to be my pressure sensor. The switch, as I said, it's underneath the car next to the charcoal canister, and I got it back probed. So that this white piece, that's what the module is. So I got to wait. One on the bottom is for vacuum, one on the top is for pressure, and here's the vent line. And here's the sorry guys, that's the filter. Charcoal canister is here, of course, fuel tank, and then a purge valve is over at the engine compartment. So right now what we're going to do, we're going to apply the vacuum to our system and see if we can hold the vacuum. So before I do that, I'm going to just find my switch. I'm going to go data. So EVAP, EGR, this should be my switch here. I customize it, select all, see, there you go. So right now my switch is open. As we can see, we're reading at 4.5 volts, and so what we're going to do next, I'm going to apply the vacuum to my system. So with this, we're gonna test the switch, and we're gonna test how well, if you have a leak or not. So I'll leave you guys here, and just gonna start pumping my vacuum. We can see we're drawing the vacuum. The fuel tank is almost empty, so it's going to take a little while to get the enough vacuum to close the switch. And once we close the switch, and we're going to look how long the switch is going to stay closed, and let's see, 1 point. There you go. Now switch is closed, and I've got to open again. So right now I can see a little problem here. with my switch, it opened and actually my vacuum did change somewhat. Let's just stop this. See that? And that's a problem right there. You can see that see, it's really this too much noise, but the switch closed and my vacuum was, I was still applying the vacuum, and then it opened and then closed again. I got too much of a filter. Let's see. So let's try again. Okay. Now switch is closed at this time, but I see nice crisp, line in my other car. We had this crazy, now I can see on my scan tool, switch is closed. You guys can see that. You can see the switch is closed, and but it opened right away. So I'm not sure why the switch was goofed off a little bit, but it seemed like we have a problem here. We cannot hold the vacuum. Apply the vacuum again. Switch is closed, and seems like we are around like 1.8 inches of water. Switch closed, but we can see that we are rapidly losing vacuum here, and that is the problem. This is way too much loss of vacuum, so it seems like we have a leak somewhere. So the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to go under the hood, and I'm going to clamp my my purge solenoid. I can do that, and we're going to apply the vacuum again to see if my purge solenoid is leaking. So use the flashlight. I have these are all the plastic lines, but I have a little rubber hose here that I can pinch it so I can isolate my sorry guys, I gotta step up. So I got a little piece of rubber hose on my, we can see that my vacuum is, I'm going back to the atmospheric pressure, so it's not holding the vacuum. So again, I just have a little hose here that I can pinch my EVAP line right here. You guys can see that. I can't see anything. Well, I can see the pliers, I guess. Yeah. So this is my EVAP line. So I just want to isolate my my EVAP. My purge solenoid, which is okay. So there's my purge solenoid right there. So again, I got that line pinched. So I'm gonna pump the vacuum again just to see if my purge solenoid is messed up. So I'm gonna do this again. Okay, my switch is closed. I don't like that. I'm not sure. But we can see we are still losing vacuum pretty fast. Yeah, the switch is going to open pretty soon actually. So the next step we'll have to get the smoke machine and see if we can find a leak. Now pretty soon the switch is going to open. I don't like this line on this switch because my other one was doing kind of the same thing and it was bad micro switch, but this is definitely other issue that so now switch starts to open, and I don't like to see this either. All this changes in voltage, it should be pretty steady, and especially now here we had this this going on, which I don't like to see it, but seems like we might have some issue with the switch as well, but definitely problem with a leak somewhere. So the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to pinch also my vent hose where my filter is down at the charcoal canister. Just if the ESIM switch is not sealing right, this unit, this integrated module is supposed to seal the system. I'm going to rule that out by pinching the vent hose to see if that's going to change anything. Bigger pliers. As you guys can see, that I'm losing vacuum pretty fast actually. So right now I'm just trying to kind of do as much as I can with my vacuum pump. So again, now I got my vent hose pinched, plugged, so I'm going to apply the vacuum again and see if and my computer is okay. I mean, it reads when the switch goes to 0 volts, it will, you know, reads as closed switch, and let's see what happens now. You can see now my scan tool is fine. I'm at the 0 volts right now, and reads now again we are still losing a lot of vacuum. So the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to take a smoke machine. I'm going to leave my vent hose pinched, and I'm going to use the same system here at the filler neck to get some. Now we can see it's going to open pretty soon. Definitely a leak, and it seems like a large leak actually. Now switch is open. We cannot hold the pressure. I mean vacuum. So let me just show you guys what I've done here underneath the car. As I said, I just pinched my vent hose, and so right there, that's my vent hose. I got it pinched. So I have to do this. I mean, when you use your smoke machine, you can actually hook up smoke machine here, or I mean you can hook it up under the hood. But since I already have here at my you know, other place that could leak, it could be a of course the tank cap, but since I'm already having a leak here, you know, I can use this access to get my smoke, because it's not at my filler neck, it's somewhere else. So you can see it's losing pretty fast. So let me get my setup and it will start doing this. I got my smoke machine hooked up to the air right now. So I'm just going to pinch the line. I'm going to set the pressure. I'll make sure it's at below 1 psi. That is my float here. Make sure my machine is sealed. My smoke machine. And it's not 100% sealed, but it's good enough. It'll drop eventually. It's fine. So I'm just making sure that I don't overpressurize, so that's fine. I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna open up the line and see if I can pressurize the and also I have my pressure here. I'm still reading the here. Looks like around 1.1 inches of water actually, which is pretty good. But still have a so now I'm gonna turn my gonna connect to my battery so I can get some smoke going. All right, we went around 1.4. Yeah. 2.7 actually, no? Yeah, 1.4. Okay, well I'll have to get underneath and see if I can find a leak somewhere. Okay guys, I found it. I had to move my hose, my vacuum, smoke machine to a vent side of the of this ESIM system, and I'm not sure if you guys can see. There's a whole bunch of smoke. There you go. And it seems like right where the this unit actually hooks up to charcoal canister. Right at there's a gasket, I believe, right there, and it's that's where it leaks. Yeah, no question about it. I'm not sure how to set the camera to see this the best, but I think it's visible. Yeah. Okay. So I have to replace this unit. It's like 14 bucks. I should. Then we're gonna repeat the test again to make sure everything's sealed. Okay. Okay, guys. At day 2, I've got my unit, this integrated module, replaced. As we can see, yesterday I've seen some smoke coming around. I couldn't really see any kind of cracks or something. That maybe just the way that was sealed on the charcoal canister that was, you know, leaking. I really don't know, but here's the new one. Get a flashlight if I can find one. There we go. And I'm still connected to my switch, and there's the new unit. When you replace the unit, to make sure it has to be in the same direction as the you know, the same direction. So like this one, because here's a vacuum weight in it, and that has to be at the bottom, and the pressure weight has to be on the top. So this is the way the unit has to be oriented. So this this is what the if you flip this upside down, you can still install it, but it's going to be wrong. It's not going to work. It's not going to seal. I'm going to explain that in the other video. So anyway, so there's a new unit. Pretty simple to install. You pull that vent hose off, and so you're going to pull the vent hose off, and there's a locking tab right in here. What you need to do, you need to pull this towards you a little bit. I just couldn't do it with, you know, one hand, so to film it, but you just pull this towards you, and you turn it. That's all it is. It's like just one turn. It's not a, it just kind of locks. It's like these 4 tabs that locks the unit. So you just kind of turn it like 45 degrees, and you can take it off. But make sure that it sits like this. If you put it like this, you're gonna have a lot of problems. It's not gonna work. So so right now I have my switch and my pressure sensor. Again, it's the same setup as last time. I have to apologize. During the, you know, at the beginning of the video, I said that this system is similar to NVLD, which it is, and I say it doesn't have a purge valve. That was wrong. It has, of course, it has a purge valve, but does not have a vent valve. As you can see, This NVLD actually has a 3-pin connector. This one has only 2, and it's just for the switch. NVLD has one for the ground, one for the switch, and one for the vent solenoid. So this one does not have a vent solenoid. So let's just go ahead and pump some vacuum and see how we're gonna hold vacuum this time. So you can see the switch, it's already closed, and we are holding a vacuum with no problems at all. As I said, as we know yesterday, I mean, it was really depleting pretty fast, and our switch would open like in, I don't know, maybe 10-20 seconds or something like that. Less than half a minute the switch would open. Again, I cannot see anything wrong with this thing. I just cannot find anything that any kind of cracks, but something, it was losing vacuum somewhere, so I don't know. Something else I've done yesterday, as I was testing it, I pinched this hose where the vent valve is, and the reason I've done that before I got my smoke machine, inside of this unit there's a seal for the vacuum and the pressure, and if those seals are damaged, this module, it's not going to hold the pressure or vacuum anymore. So I pinched this end just to kind of rule that out. If those seals are bad, you know, if when I shut this end off, you know, I'm basically going to seal this unit anyway, and if I would be able to hold the vacuum at that time, then I would know that this was bad. I hope that makes sense, but as you can see now, it's holding just fine. And something else we can do real quick, we can actually test our purge solenoid. I already have it on my bidirectional control. We can activate the purge solenoid, and we should see that our vacuum should deplete, you know, that we should equalize the pressure, and our switch should open. I'm not sure if I have NVLD switch. I do not, unfortunately, on this one. But anyway, let's go to 50% purge, and we can see right away that my purge solenoid is open. My vacuum is pretty much at 0 right now, and my switch did open. And I'm gonna shut this off, and it's off. It goes down a little bit. Now let's go ahead and pump the pressure again. I mean vacuum again, and then we're gonna repeat the test. I just want to make sure that this is a quick test that we can actually verify the purge solenoid is working the way it should. Let's see. Okay, I have this shut-off valve here, and right now it opened because I did not shut it off. So we can see this is a little valve here that I have it. And then I can see we are still holding the vacuum just fine. And let's go ahead and do the purge again, and we can see the switch opens right away. And let me turn this off, and that's it. I'm gonna open up this valve again. I'm gonna pump some vacuum. Switch is closed. Shut it off again, and it's holding just fine. Again, like a minute ago, we could see that my switch did open. That's because I did not have enough time to shut this valve off to seal the system. But this is it. This is confirmed fix. I'm happy with this. You can see it's holding the vacuum. System is sealed and no more leaks. My vent valve, my purge valve is working just fine, and I'm happy with this. This should be fine. Again, I'm not sure what was the what's wrong with this one, but it leaks somewhere. So okay, well, that would be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. I'm gonna make a part 2 where I'm gonna take this ESIM module apart, and I'm gonna explain how this actually works. Pretty simple. And I'm actually pretty happy with this one. I truly believe that using a vacuum pump and a pressure sensor, it is the best way to work on these Chryslers, because you can really see, you know, if you have if your system is able to seal, if you're able to maintain a vacuum, you can actually see if your switch is open and closing. So electronically you can actually test the system as well to make sure the input to the computer is correct. Yesterday we could see that if I, you know, pump in the vacuum, that you know, the switch goes from open to close as we change in the voltage on the on our switch, and that's it. I'm happy. My vacuum is holding just fine. You can see that again, it's still holding just fine, and that was it. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching, and please stick around for part 2 when I'm going to take this apart. And see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye. Okay, guys. A little bonus footage. I pumped the pressure in my system. A little bit, you know, a little bit below 1 psi, and of course the ball is at the bottom. I did actually disconnect my hose, and I'm just looking at the gauge. So basically, I'm doing the same thing with the pressure what I did with my vacuum on my, and you can see I'm connected to my tank, and I'm holding pressure just fine. Yesterday, I mean, I had it wide open. Not wide open, but I mean, I was pumping the air, but I mean, my gauge was down at the 0. I mean, I had a pretty large leak. Now I'm holding pretty good, so I'm happy with this. Okay, just a little bonus footage. Okay, thank you guys. Bye bye. Okay, guys. Well, another bonus footage. I just could not sleep until I figured this out. I mean, I know it has to be leaked somewhere. I mean, it was obvious. So again, I got my handy pump connected. I got a little bit of hoses, whatever, and I'm going to use dish soap. And right here, because when I was looking yesterday, I could see the smoke comes right behind this electrical connector. So I'm going to put a little bit of dish soap right around this area where the electrical actually goes, with the, you know, from the diaphragm to this male connector. So let me. I need to kind of put my hand here to seal. This is the part that's connected to a charcoal canister, and this is the vent side. So let's see here, right there. Come on now, let me get some more dish soap. There you go. It leaks right underneath that. Right, let's see, maybe I can see that. It's right in here. It seems like, I believe what happens, you know, this part gets stressed out. It kind of wiggles a little bit, and it just breaks, and that's where. I mean, I knew when I kept looking, I couldn't find anything suspicious. It has to be somewhere. Right there, see that? Alright, so I'm not sure if this is the common place where this leaks or not, but it is definitely a problem. So I'm thinking maybe to save this unit and maybe fill it up with a JB valve to close this. Will that work? I'm not sure. It should. If I filled it up with a JB valve and just save it, if I have a car that has a similar problem, I can just pop this one in, or maybe just have another, you know, this is like a $14 instead of, you know, going with the you know, if it's easy to get to, like on this car, just quickly, if you pump your vacuum, you see they're losing the pressure, and you know, just replace this, just put another one in, and if you hold the vacuum, this is your problem. And so right in here, as you can see, there's a little weight, and this is what seals. So yesterday what I did, I pinched this hose here, and also when I was at the end of the video, when I was checking the pressure, I didn't mention that I also pinched this vent side, so that I'm now you know, applying a controlled pressure into the EVAP, and we could see we were holding it. But yesterday, I mean, this whole time, you know, it was leaking, so I couldn't find it. Now, Something else also that I you know, when I had my smoke machine hooked up to a my filler neck, you know, I was filling up the my tank with the smoke, and I looked and looked and looked. I was kind of off camera. I just couldn't. I don't have a lift or anything, so I was kind of crawling underneath the car. I'm just looking at everything. I couldn't find the leak anywhere. I could see that my pressure is on zero. You know, my float is all the way up. I'm pumping the air, but no leaks. I cannot see the smoke. So until I got actually on this side, and then I connected the connected my smoke machine to my vent hose, and then I could actually see the smoke coming out. I think what happens basically, as the smoke gets into the charcoal canister, the charcoal canister filters the smoke, and then you just have fresh air coming out, and you're never going to see it. I think that's what happens. And until I actually got the smoke from this end, and then I could see the smoke. I looked everywhere, I couldn't find it until I got my smoke machine on the vent side. So I guess you know, the point is, when you look for smoke using a smoke machine, you cannot find it. Just look to put it in a different, you know, put it in a tank, pressurize your tank. If you cannot find it, go under the hood, you know, disconnect your purge valve, you know, smoke from that end. If you cannot find it there, go from the vent side, unhook the vent, you know, hose, and you know, apply the smoke from that side. Otherwise I would never find this ever. I mean, it was impossible to see it. But I could see, as I was pumping my vacuum, I could see I have a large leak. I mean, yesterday, you know, you could see my vacuum was just depleting so fast, and my switch would open right away. I knew that I had a large leak, even though the code for the small leak, and the reason was on the Chryslers, they test for the small leak first, and if that fails, and it's gonna do the large leak test. And so it was I guess the PCM was in the process of testing the system for the large leak, but in the meantime, you know, when I was checking it, it was only a small leak. But you know, everything's fixed. Everything, you know, now you know I retested everything, and it works fine. So, but that's where the leak is. I'm not sure if this is a common or not, but you know, when I replaced this unit, I kept looking on the charcoal canister to make sure there's no cracks. I got a flashlight around. I got a mirror behind just to look, you know, see if I see any obvious, you know, damage on the charcoal canister. I couldn't see anything. I mean, I can see a little bit of a. I mean, you can't see crack here at all. I mean, there was a little, like a hairline right here, but you just can't see it. You just have to pressurize it and then to find it. So, okay, now I'm happier just to show you guys, you know, what the deal is. And, you know, if you guys work on these Chryslers, and, you know, just have one of these handy on the side and just pop it in and see if it holds the pressure. You know, you don't have to go, you know, with the smoke machine and all that stuff. So, anyway. Thank you so much. This is the end of this video for sure. I'm going to take this guy apart. I'm going to make the part 2, how everything actually works inside of this unit, how this actually controls the pressure in the vacuum, how the computer is doing the small leak and large leak test, and we should finally be able to test these Chryslers for EVAP leaks. Okay, thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.